I connected this because the presentation will be there.
Okay.
I guess now I just log in.
See, well, you're connected to the computer.
I'm not connected yet. I connected this, but
the bottom plate and the rear.
You need to plug your USB into the computer. Okay, down here.
oh, I got
Okay, welcome to everybody for the year of 2020. Okay. So today we will start with the Transportation Department presentation.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do
So
have some.
welcome everybody.
I do want to let everybody know, if you haven't been sworn in, I think you need to go back to be sworn in, or is everybody, I think everybody's clear.
Was it for the new term or?
Yeah.
Oh,
No, if you didn't receive anything from the city clerk, then you're good.
okay. Do you have an agenda?
Yeah, it's out here.
Gaby, pásale
It
a
is to sign. Give him that copy.
And where's the attendance?
It was by you. Here.
And remember, I'm gonna be stricter on the attendance. Okay. Ready, Jose?
Ready. All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jose Gonzalez. I'm the Transportation Director for the city. Actually, Transportation and Mobility Director. Our department name changed recently. And I'm joined by Josiel Ferrer Diaz, who's our Assistant Director and also in charge of all the traffic aspects of our department, and that includes stop signs, traffic signals, crosswalks, etc. And then also joined by Milos Mashtorovic, who is our transportation manager in charge of all things transit. And that includes the trolley, as well as the freebie, bus shelters, and working with Miami-Dade Transit on any bus issue. So I want to thank you for the opportunity to present to you today our department and some of what we do and some of the projects that we're working on. But first and foremost, these are some housekeeping items, if you will, that it's important to understand, what our limitations, even as a city, is. A lot of folks think that we can go out and install a stop sign. We cannot do that. That we can go out and install a crosswalk if there's a perceived need for a crosswalk. We just can't, willy-nilly go out there and do it. In Miami-Dade County, and this holds true for every city within Miami-Dade County, the county has jurisdiction over transportation, and that includes transit as well as traffic. Stop signs, traffic lights, yield, one-way, two-way, bus stops, everything dealing with transportation and mobility is controlled, if you will, by the county, even within cities, even within incorporated areas. So it behooves us to work very closely with the county, because we cannot do anything unless the county says, yes, you can. So we work very closely with the county as well as with the DOT, the Florida Department of Transportation, or FDOT, because FDOT has a lot of roads in our city. A lot of the major roads, like 41st Street, Alton Road, Collins Avenue, Indian Creek, 5th Street, 71st, and 41st, I'm not sure if I said it, but the major roads in our city are not controlled by the city. They're controlled by the state, by FDOT. So if we want to do anything on those streets, we have to ask for permission to FDOT. And a lot of times, it's important to understand that what's important to us and what's urgent to us is not always urgent and important to the county or to the state. So therein lies our challenges as transportation professionals. But with those challenges come some opportunities. So we are working with the county on regional transportation, trying to connect us to Miami, to the mainland, through regional bus service, express bus service, as well as premium transit, or what a lot of people call a rail project. There's one that you may have been reading about in the paper that is called the Beach Corridor. In the old days, about, I would say 15 years ago, it was called Baylink. Now it's called Beach Corridor, and it's a premium rail transit connection between Miami and Miami Beach.
What do you call it?
Beach Corridor is the name.
Who's in charge of that?
The county, Miami-Dade County. So this slide presents a snapshot of how people are traveling in our city today. And by people, I mean everybody, residents, visitors, employees that work here, that come every day to work in our restaurants, hotels, etc. On the left, you see what the existing mode share. Mode share is the distribution of how people are traveling via different modes. So you see existing, and that's existing is actually 2016. This data is a couple years old already. By car, 64% of all trips are done by car. 11% by bus, 10% walking, 5% by bikes, and 10% other, which are scooters and all types of different, from skateboards to scooters to mopeds, different devices that people use to get to and from work every day. So what this tells you is, if you look at the 64% car and 11% transit, the car number is a lot lower than most other cities in Miami-Dade County, and the transit number is a lot higher than most other cities in Miami-Dade County. So that indicates a propensity, if you will, for people to take mass transit in our city. And again, this is people, meaning visitors are in there as well. Tourists are in there as well. As we know, a lot of tourists are used to taking public transportation because they come from countries that have a good public transit system. And then on the right side is the goal, our goal for the year 2035 and where we would like to be. And so as you can see, we want to reduce car trips by about 20%. We want to increase transit trips by about 9%, as well as pedestrian trips and bicycle trips. Now you may ask, so how do we get from where we are today, or where we were in 2016 to 2035? And the way we plan on getting there, our blueprint, if you will, is the Transportation Master Plan, which is available on our website. So if you go to our website, you will see our Transportation Master Plan, which was adopted by the City Commission in 2016. And that master plan has over 100 projects. And all the projects in that master plan are intended to get us to this goal on the right-hand side of the screen. So you'll see a lot of multimodal projects, a lot of transit projects in our master plan.
Doesn't make any sense.
One of the ways that we're also going to be hopefully achieving our 2035 goal is through this modal prioritization, is what we call it. This is a modal hierarchy. This was established by the City Commission in 2015. They told us, Transportation Department, we want you to prioritize pedestrians first, transit, bicycles, and freight second, and the private automobile third. So all the projects in our Transportation Master Plan align with this philosophy, if you will, of trying to improve pedestrian safety, pedestrian connectivity, first and foremost, and then transit, bicycles, and vehicles subsequently. As part of our master plan, we looked at all the major corridors in our city and tried to determine what mode was best for those corridors, because our corridors are constrained. We have limited right-of-way widths, so most times we cannot do everything that we would like to do on a street. So we had to prioritize our streets for the different modes: transit, bicycle, pedestrian, and then the connecting links, which are those connector routes to create a seamless network for transit, bicyclists, and pedestrians. So here you see, you'll see a lot of the same roads that are on the transit map. You'll see them as well on the bicycle and pedestrian, because where there are opportunities to create what we call a complete street, which is a street that's safe for all modes and all users, pedestrians, transit, bicycles, and cars, that's what we're trying to do. That's our goal, to create complete streets. So these are examples of how we're putting pedestrians first in our city. We've got several traffic calming initiatives that are underway in two neighborhoods specifically, Bayshore neighborhood and Nautilus neighborhoods. Those are projects that are in the GEO bond as well, so we're moving quickly on those projects. Traffic calming, what it does is it slows the vehicle down and thereby increases pedestrian safety. Safety for pedestrians as well as for bicyclists by calming the speeds of the vehicle, as well as discouraging vehicles from using local residential streets, which are supposed to be more calm, low speed, low volume streets. Pedestrian priority zones, we have a study that will be going to our City Commission for approval within the next month or so. and it proposes to create pedestrian priority zones in the south of Fifth neighborhood, the Flamingo Park neighborhood, and the entertainment district. And that is the name basically says it all. It's an area within a city or within a downtown area where the pedestrian is prioritized through crosswalks, through signal timing, through wide sidewalks, clear paths, shade and canopy for pedestrians to walk through. And so those are 3 neighborhoods that hopefully you will see transformed over the next several years to become more pedestrian friendly. Neighborhood greenway projects. A greenway is a street that is, as I mentioned before, calm for pedestrians and bicyclists. So we're trying to create residential streets that have low volume and low speeds. We want most of our traffic to be on the arterial roadways, the major thoroughfares like 41st, like Alton, Collins, and not along the residential streets like Prairie Avenue, Royal Palm, streets within, Meridian Avenue, for example, streets within residential neighborhoods. And then lastly, shared use paths are paths that could be used by various modes, pedestrians, bicycles, as well as different modes of transportation. As long as they're not motorized, they could be used. And I talked a little bit about Complete Street, which is designing streets for all users and for them to be safe for by all users, people of all ages and abilities. Bicycle projects that we're pursuing, you may have seen a lot of green bike lanes throughout the city. We've installed over 8 miles already since 2016. We've installed bicycle repair stations throughout the city. Those are little contraption of sorts where you can fix a flat tire. Milos, what else can you do with these bike repair stations? Fix a flat?
You can add or check the pressure in your tires. You can actually change your tire. You can adjust your derailleurs and so forth. So a bunch of, I would say, even major repairs on the bike
Could be done there.
there.
And we have 10 stations already throughout the city strategically located. Bicycle parking, that's includes bike racks that you see on the sidewalks, as well as long-term bicycle facilities that we have in 6 of our parking garages throughout the city. So at this point, we probably have close to 1,000 bike racks throughout the city. We're installing a lot of bike racks because a lot of people are riding bikes and need a place to park them, because otherwise they're just going to use a pole or a tree, which is actually violates the code, and your bicycle could be impounded and confiscated. Some of our achievements that I think are worth mentioning is that in 2017 we received the Silver Award from the League of American Bicyclists, which is the highest award so far in South Florida. That's for a lot of the things that we've been doing, like the green bike lanes, the bicycle, and the bicycle parking. And then in 2018 we received the Complete Streets Community Award for a lot of the efforts that we're pursuing. Transit. So our transit priority corridors are the major corridors in the city: 5th, Washington, 41st, Indian Creek, Harding, Abbott, Alton, 71st, and all our causeways. And what we're trying to do here is create a network for our buses and our trolleys that is seamless and that dedicates space on the street for that transit vehicle through a dedicated lane. If you have visited other cities in the U.S., there are not too many of them, but New York City and I believe, San Francisco, is it? San Francisco, New York City. Some of the major cities in the U.S. have painted red lanes on the streets. Those are lanes for buses, dedicated for buses. Sometimes it's the whole day, 24/7. Sometimes it depends on the time of day. It could be a shared lane where cars use it for a portion of the day, but then other times of the day, it's only for buses, and cars are not allowed to use it. So
Don't
we
they have
are,
it in South Miami, like on Dixie Highway, Kendall.
like the US one
US one corridor.
corridor, similar, except that's a separate facility. You know, that one is separated, so that's even
Okay,
more
yeah.
exclusive. What we're talking about is just taking a regular lane, like for example, let's say Fifth Street. Fifth Street has 3 lanes in each direction. So what we're proposing is taking one of those lanes in each direction, painting it red, and making it exclusive for transit during certain parts of the day. You know, so that bus can have exclusivity, and that also improves the service, the
Right.
reliability, the schedule, because for those that take buses, I'm sure you'll agree that the main problem with the bus is that it's stuck in traffic with everyone else.
Right.
By dedicating a lane to transit, it takes the bus out of that traffic congestion, and the bus is able to whiz by. That's the intent.
And only they can use that lane?
Yes, during that
During the
time
period.
right, during that period, yeah. That's how it works.
Something has to happen.
So we have a huge market already that takes transit. 19,000 transit trips a day on our causeways. 19,000 people are taking buses because that's all that goes over the causeways today, buses. So those are huge numbers. So we're trying to capitalize on those numbers and increase the number of people taking transit and decrease the number of people driving their cars. 40,000 workers commute to Miami Beach every day. Those are all the hotel, housekeeping, the restaurant workers, and 26,000 workers commute out of Miami Beach per day. So those are our residents. People who live in Miami Beach are residents but don't work here. So they've got to use the causeways and head out every morning and then head back in every afternoon. The trolley service that I'm sure all of you are very familiar with. I think I don't have to go into this. Milos is here. So, it is a good story to tell, as I say. The service that you see out there today has all been done within pretty much four years, right? Pretty much within 4 years. So 5 years ago, we didn't have any of this. So
We had the regular buses.
we had just the regular buses,
That
right?
work better than this. This doesn't work.
We'll get there in a second.
Oh, yes.
So we have 25 trolleys that are in service every day for 18 hours a day, serving North Beach, serving Middle Beach, and serving South Beach, loops within each of those areas. Plus we have the Collins Express, which you all are familiar with, which has been, so many people want to take it that it's many times it's at capacity, and they cannot accept any more riders. So we are trying to address that situation. It's a lot of people will say that it's a good problem to have because it's a very successful system. And then we received the highest ranking in Miami-Dade County by Transit Alliance, the only 4-star trolley service in the county. And there are a lot of shuttle and trolley service in the county, including Coral Gables, City of Miami, Doral. Oh my gosh, there's so many. There's probably close to 20 different cities that are operating either trolley service or shuttle. Out of all those, let's say 20 cities, we were the only one that received the 4-star, which was the highest. So, it shows us that we're doing something right. There's always room for improvement, and we're up to the challenge, but it's a good story. All right, next is other ways of getting around in Miami Beach. You may have seen the Freebie vehicle, which is that vehicle to your left. That is operating in the Mid-Beach area as a partnership with the City of Miami Beach. It's also operating in South Beach, but currently not as a partnership with Miami Beach. And what I mean by a partnership is that we are subsidizing, we have an agreement with Freebie, and we are subsidizing the Freebie service in Mid-Beach. And by subsidizing it, what that does is it guarantees more reliable service for a bigger part of the day. Because the way that Freebie works, their business model is based on advertising. So on months that they have a lot of advertisers, you're going to see a lot of Freebie vehicles out there. But on months slow months, let's say, that they don't have a lot of advertising, they have to cut back the service. So if you're expecting a freebie, you may not get it. They may not be operating because they don't have any sponsors or advertisers. So by us subsidizing, partnering with them and subsidizing it, it guarantees that service for the community. Yes.
I think that Supercar a lot of times, how much does it cost?
Free. It's called freebie. It's
Yes,
free.
but how
Oh,
we
how
get
much does it cost the city?
No, how much does it cost us?
Nothing.
It's right there.
Nothing.
How come they don't stop?
You know, so-
It's a freebie.
What,
Because
we
you have
Well,
to
Mr.
call them or?
Yeah, Mr. Bernie, there are a couple of different programs in the city. So there is one official program that city sponsors, and it operates in the area of Middle Beach. It was approved by the city commission in January, and per hour it cost us $26.25. 1 hour or one vehicle with the driver. $26.25.
How we can get them? Just make a sign or call them? How?
Correct. So
this work?
now the area, I'm not sure whether you would be using it, but the area where Freebie operates is the area north of Dade Boulevard, south of 63rd Street, west of the creek itself, and east of the bay. So it's north of Dade Boulevard. It's not in South Beach. It's not in South Beach.
You'll see them in South Beach,
I
but
see
not
them
as a,
on the
not in
road.
a partnership with the city. Yeah.
Well, but that's not an official partnership with the city. They operate pursuant to BTR, business tax receipt, throughout the city. But that's not the official city program. So we would advise in South Beach for you to use the
And
trolleys as
they
most
are
reliable.
all of them are the same color, I would say, or not? Because
No,
this is
they-
the-
They might have a different
They're
design
wrapped,
scheme.
they're wrapped with advertising. So you'll see
Uh-huh.
different different ads on
Because
that.
I used one day, and the driver gave me his card and said,
Right.
when you need, just call.
Call or
But
there's
maybe
an
you
app.
have to tip them, because they said no.
It's up to you. It's you don't have to. You can tip them if you'd like, but it's not required. You don't have to.
No, okay.
As a matter of fact, for the mid-beach service, which the city's paying for, we recommend not tipping.
Correct,
We
and there is a
suggest
sign
not
actually
to-
that says that
don't
this
tip.
service is provided by the city and that
Yeah.
you do not have to tip the driver. But that's the way that they, basically, drivers make money in other areas which they don't have a sponsorship for. So, in other areas, their business plan works if there is advertisement. So if there is advertisement for them to put in the vehicles, they're generating revenue, right? And the drivers are generating some type of salary from the tip, right? Now, if there is no advertisement, there is no service whatsoever, versus the service that we have in Middle Beach is sponsored by the city, and we provide the service every day of the year,
Guaranteed.
guaranteed, regardless whether there is advertisement or not.
And the reason we're only doing it in Middle Beach now, it started as a pilot program and it was successful, so we made it permanent and continued it. The reason we're only doing it in Mid Beach is because the trolley doesn't go through Middle Beach like Royal Palm, Sheridan, Prairie, all those avenues, Chase. Trolleys don't go through there. So a lot of our residents were complaining, hey, Indian Creek, Collins, they all get the trolley, Washington gets the trolley, why don't we get the trolley? So those residential areas are low demand, because there isn't any high density, there aren't, condo buildings there, so it's low density. So this type of vehicle, this type of service is appropriate for residential areas. That's
Is
yes.
electric
But they
car?
can-
Yes, electric.
Because they don't take my baby with that.
Who's your baby?
Don't
It
My
folds.
baby.
Oh,
They
It
do.
folds. Bernie, it will fold because
They don't take my baby.
Bernie,
What should I do?
Bernie, let me
Oh, they
finish.
do.
Bernie, let me finish. When I had my niece scooter, I took one day. We had an event at the Miami Women's the Miami Women's Club, and it fit. The scooter fit. So if my scooter could have fit,
It does, my baby.
it will
doesn't
fit.
fit.
Why not try it? Let's
I
try it.
tried.
okay, and then City Bike, you all are familiar with, we've had since 2011 more or less. Now we're going to be piloting electric assisted bicycles. So a lot of people, electric assisted bicycles. You still have to pedal a little, and then that powers up, the engine, and then you can coast and cruise a little bit. Then you have to pedal a little bit more. Yes.
Is that going to be allowed on the sidewalk? The electric?
Yes. Electric assist by Florida statutes, by state law, enjoys all the rights and privileges of a regular bicycle by state law. We cannot do anything about that.
You
So
can
yes.
you can cap them. You can cap the speed, which is something that we're looking at. You can cap the speed, but it's no different than a regular bike, in the sense of when you think about it, a human powered bike, solely human powered, can go the same speed as one of these.
These are not fully electric.
Okay, my only concern with that, and again, I'm just asking for clarification, is I, particularly myself, seeing a lot of the seniors, as long as it's not gonna go faster than, like Josie L said, allowed to pedal, because your mission statement right here at the beginning was pedestrians first.
Correct.
So we need to stay with that. And my concern here is I was over in Miami last week and I was walking just on the sidewalk and two people with a scooter almost ran me over. They didn't even look. So I mean, that's a separate issue. But I'm just saying, I agree with Josie L. As long as it's not gonna go faster than you humanly pedal, that's fine. But if you start making another issue, even besides we have to worry about besides a scooter, I mean, the sidewalk should be there for the pedestrians, and that's really scary to hear that.
No, we agree with that. The city does have certain leeway and authority to regulate, as Josiel was mentioning. One of those is the speed.
Yeah.
Another is we could ban them from a certain sidewalk. For example, the Ocean Drive sidewalks are banned for bicycles. You cannot ride even a bike on the Ocean Drive sidewalks, either the west one or the east one. It doesn't matter. You can't. So if we ever when we pilot the electric assisted bikes, they will not be able to ride on the Ocean Drive sidewalks either. You know, so those prohibitions will be carried forward, as well as any new regulations like speed. We can say, nothing over 8 miles an hour or
Why can't we just make it no faster than you can pedal, at a reasonable speed? Because the thing is we're already gonna have to deal with the scooter issue that I sent our transportation committee last week, having all kinds of issues with vendors across the water. There was 8 of them that are getting possibly rejected. My only concern is safety, and I'm just seeing my own personal experience. And I've talked to a lot of the seniors, because they know that I'm on the transportation committee, and a lot of them are very concerned. The sidewalk is a place they feel safe, and it should stay that way. That's just my opinion, my 2 cents.
Okay. All right. Traffic management, and that falls under Josiel. So traffic management is something we've been doing for a few years, since 2014. As you all know, we have a lot of major special events in the city. Sometimes even, our summer months, which used to be the slow, low months, even the summer months are very active now. There's a lot of events going on. So this was a program that started as a pilot back in 2014, and we found it essential in terms of managing traffic. So what this program does is, through the use of cameras, Wi-Fi devices that are located throughout the city, and the portable digital boards that you may have seen as you're traveling throughout the city that say something like traffic on eastbound Julia Tuttle, for example. That's what they said this morning. There was a lot of traffic on Julia Tuttle. So that is how we get the word out, with those digital message signs that you see down there. And then we have a traffic monitor that monitors traffic conditions within the city and on the causeways for 14 hours a day. During major special events, they actually do it for close to probably 18
hours.
Like, for example, now that we're in Super Bowl, we're approaching Super Bowl.
14 hours. We're doing
14 hours. Our traffic monitor is on high alert, if you will. And if anything happens, like an accident, a car catches fire on the causeway, if anything happens, that's immediately posted on those digital message boards that you see down there. Sometimes even on I-95, they're posted so that people know, hey, there's traffic on the MacArthur, don't take MacArthur, take Julia Tuttle. And then we also send out text alerts, and hopefully all of you are signed up to 888-777, and you receive text alerts that are pretty much in real time. As things happen, they're being texted to the community. And something that I'm not sure if you all know, but a few years ago, the city passed a policy that there no lane closures from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. and from 3:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. So that on major thoroughfares. That was done because a lot of times contractors were closing, lanes on important streets and choking traffic during rush hour. So this is not to say that lanes cannot be closed. They could be closed, but not during the rush hours, which are 7 to 10 and 3:30 to 7.
Question about the traffic text alert.
Yeah.
For the Venetian Causeway and when the bridge malfunctions, are the people at what's that called? The people that are
Bridge tender?
working the
The bridge tender?
Yeah. Do they send y'all?
No,
Because
they,
one time
they,
could we coordinate that a little better, because it was literally this guy flagging people down, like, don't go, on the city of Miami side, he was like flagging people, saying not to go because the bridge was
Something
stuck
happened.
on the east side.
So we do have a camera in that area that we're monitoring constantly. So when the bridge goes up, of course, we see it. When we see that it's an extended opening and the traffic is building up, we right away call a bridge tender. By policy, the bridge tender cannot call us. They have their own, they're managed by the county.
Because it's county, right?
Yeah,
They
they're
have their own
managed by the
protocol.
county, and by policy they cannot call us. But we do monitor it, and whenever we call the tender and get some information, whether somebody's on the way to fix it or whatnot, and that's what's typically texted. I can remember in the past 2 weeks we put out a text that the bridge had gone up, and then probably about 3 weeks before that as well we had, and there's some stuff that we noticed.
But sometimes they call police.
Well, the bridge tender, I've never seen them call police themselves. They have a very strict policy as far as openings is concerned, and times and who they can call, and it's it's an interesting policy. But we do stay in constant contact with that bridge tender, with 63rd, with 79th. So that's but it is something that we have to actively monitor. It's not something that we get instantly that the bridge tender calls us, which is unfortunate. And we've had this discussion with the county
Right.
about better center communication on that. But the county, just the policy around the bridge tender, it's because it has to do with homeland security as well, and they have certain rules that they need to follow. They try to stay away from having the bridge tender be active on traffic management items.
Okay, and so this year, we're going to be upgrading the traffic monitoring and management that we've been doing since 2014. We're going to be upgrading that to be more of a state-of-the-art intelligent transportation system and smart parking system project that's going to be launching this year. Now, to most of you, that's going to be invisible. It's not something you're really going to see, except maybe the digital boards at the bottom. They're going to be permanent. They're going to be elevated. And there's going to be more of them throughout the city. So that's, as a driver, that's all you're going to see. But know that in the background, there's a lot of information being shared and communication back and forth to try to manage traffic, trying to manage incidents as fast and quickly as possible.
So can you give us an example, like what you and your team would see on your end of this?
So, this is being contracted as design, build, operate, maintain. So essentially, our team, it's not concentrated on the day-to-day monitoring of the traffic. We do jump into high gear, in the event of an issue or something like that. But we will be co-located with the Florida Department of Transportation in their traffic management compound, and they would be seeing cameras, over 41 cameras that are going to be installed, along with cameras that police has as well. So there will be over 100 cameras that will be available to us. In addition to that, travel time. One of the biggest tools that we have at our disposal when it comes to managing traffic is knowing average travel times per day on a road, and then you're constantly tracking that, right? And then based on that, if you see that travel time shoots up, or there's an accident that has the potential to derail travel time, what you do is you start putting out based on a procedure that you have and an operating procedure, you start deploying mitigation techniques. So you start seeing all these performance measures work together, and based on that, similar to trolley, pretty much our entire industry is based on performance measures. So you start seeing all these performance measures, travel time, accidents, all these things that have the ultimate goal is to interrupt traffic as little as possible. And then based on that, you start deploying mitigation techniques, messaging, signal timing, police deployment, tow truck deployment. All these things work together in trying to move cars out of the way and open roads up as soon as possible so that we can see the least amount of delay. Because it all translates into money, believe it or not. What you have, without getting too technical, is you have a curve, right, of traffic and traffic delay. And at the same time, that curve is translating instantly into money. How much money is being spent per se by the people that are stuck in that traffic? It could be a truck that's going to deliver goods and now they're not going to get there in time. It could be a mom that's going to pick up her kid that now she has to pay for additional care. So all these things translate, and based on that, that generates us moving traffic better, generates savings for the public as a whole.
So basically, time is money, right?
Yeah.
When you're stuck in traffic, that's money being wasted. So this initiative tries to improve that, and make it more efficient. And Josiah mentioned the signal timing, which is something I forgot to mention. That's the fourth bullet down. It says traffic engineer with access to county signal system for timing changes. We're the only city in the county that has that privilege of being able to change the timing of the red light and the green light at intersections. And that's a huge privilege that we have, and we only use it when we need to, when there's incidents or something and traffic has to be flushed out. But we have a traffic engineer who's part of our staff, and he reports to Josiel that basically that is his responsibility.
Like potentially this weekend.
Like potentially this weekend, yeah. And everything always happens on the weekend.
No, I'm just
The
saying,
whole week,
particularly Fifth and Alton.
Yeah.
It's not only the weekend, the whole
Going
week,
off the causeway.
the whole week.
Well,
And the
Thousands
whole,
of people
Super
here
Bowl
right
is the
now.
whole week,
yeah.
yeah. So this is a pretty long list of projects. These are things that we are pursuing, projects that we are working on. New mobility fee to help fund projects. That's what that's the money that we charge developers for when they plan on building a tower, a condo building, or whatever, even a restaurant. That project is going to bring more people. Some of those are going to be driving. That has an impact. So we monetize that impact, and that's what's called a mobility fee. So we revamped the city's mobility fee because it was from 1999. The mobility fee that developers were paying was based on 1999 dollars. So it was very old and antiquated. So we refurbished that. And then building new iconic bus shelters, and Milos can get into that maybe a little bit later. Implementing the intelligent transportation system we talked about, constructing more buffered and protected bike lanes throughout the city is one of our goals. Exclusive pedestrian phases at key intersections. We have a handful of intersections now where when you get there as a pedestrian, you don't have to press the button. The walk automatically comes on, and all the cars have to stop. You'll find that condition at Lincoln Road and Collins Avenue, Lincoln Road and Washington Avenue, Lincoln Road and Alton.
You have
On 41st Street.
on 41st Street. You have Prairie Avenue, Chase Avenue. In some cases, during the Sabbath as well, you have Pine Tree Drive. We have a number in North Beach as well.
And we have a few throughout the city, but we want to do more of those so that pedestrians do not have to push a button in order to cross. Right.
The entire Collins Avenue corridor between 5th and 23rd.
Okay. Installing sensory devices for data collection and metrics. That's just installing sensors throughout the city to help us determine to measure success rate ultimately what we wanna do is have people drive less and walk more, take more transit, and take more bikes, right? The only way to really gauge that, if we're successful or not, is through sensors that are constantly, measuring how many or counting how many cars, how many bikes, how many people. Launching an integrated mobility app for multimodal trip planning. I think we're on the cusp of launching that, the multimodal. That's going to, let's say you got to Miami International Airport and you want to get to Miami Beach. This app will tell you what modes you have to get to where you want to go, and in the quickest time possible. And it'll tell you all the modes. So it'll even give you bicycle. It'll give you walking. It'll give you ride share like Uber and Lyft. It will give you trolley,
public
transit, buses. All the modes that are available. It will show it and right. So it'll help you plan your trip, right? So think of it as Waze, no, not Waze.
It is
Google.
Like a
It is
Google.
an umbrella type mobility platform which includes all different mobility options under one
Think of it as an
application. So
Expedia, but for your daily travels as opposed to only for vacation. Think of it as
Right.
anywhere you want to get to, you have all your options open.
Which Waze has now, right? But Waze only has it for one mode.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Waze only shows you, if you're driving, this is how you get there. If you're walking, this is how you get there. But what this app will do is that it'll mix different modes. Because you may have to transfer from a bus to a trolley. This mode will tell you that. Whereas right now, Waze, there isn't, an app that, that does that. At least that we're utilizing, that we're officially partnered with. So we'll be launching that very soon. I think probably within the next couple of weeks, All right, pursuing dedicated transit lanes. I talked about that. Those are the red lanes for buses. Pursuing regional cross-bay connectivity. That's the beach corridor to connect Miami and Miami Beach through, it could be either a monorail, a people mover, a light rail, or some sort of express bus. Water taxi, and you see a picture of it on the bottom left. That is the type of water taxi service that we would like to have.
We don't have nothing right now.
Not that looks like that, no.
There's something right now, because I seen it.
Yeah.
But it costs a fortune.
It costs a lot, and it's a little rinky dink.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, it takes
Dingy.
$15.
So how
It's-
far are we along in that discovery?
We're working with the county. There's a vendor. There's a private operator who their business is operating water taxis, and they're interested in coming to Miami, connecting Miami and Miami Beach at the marina, at the Miami Beach Marina, over to Bayside, Bayfront. Yeah, so very close to you all. So you'll be able to hop on that
I'm right there. I am right there.
and get to Miami.
But I got
Yeah.
something else.
Hmm.
Let me give me a minute. I've been here 65 years, so I know the city very well. None of this is gonna work if it's not get put together right.
Yeah.
We need actually. My idea is to build few garages, big structure, for the people to come in, leave the car there, take buses to whatever part of the city you want to go.
Mhm.
That eliminate the
The driving around looking
drives,
for parking.
exactly.
Right. I agree with you.
and that's what you should have.
And we have been looking for those opportunities, but they are not very easy to find. In South Beach, there's Alton and
No
Fifth.
space.
The Alton and Fifth garage could be used for that.
Well, there's a place now. They're gonna build a 60-story high something
Mhm.
in Alton and Fifth. That area be excellent for a parking garage. Because at the entrance of the beach.
Right. Right. Yeah. I agree, and we could partner with that developer and promote, we could promote the trolleys, because the trolleys pass right through there. They're gonna pass right through the front of that, building of that, development. So we can maximize on those opportunities, but right now they're limited because we don't have that many parking garages, and the ones we
No, we
do,
don't
some of
have
them are full.
Nothing in here.
Some of them are full,
We
right?
should have, it's been a mistake for many, many, many years. Miami Beach should be linked somehow. And the only way it's gonna link it is through a monorail. We need that very bad. Will eliminate a lot of trouble. From South Beach all the way to Bayside.
Well, the county is proposing that. It's been proposed for many,
For
many years.
I know that.
Because it's a very expensive proposition, but there's another bite at the apple. They're proposing it again. You're actually going to be probably seeing a press release on it very soon, because the county they released a new study that proposes what you just said, either monorail or people mover is what the county is
Either one of
recommending.
the two
Either
work.
one of the two. And we're going to make those documents available to the public, to the community, and you'll see that probably in the next day or so. All that information is going to go out to the community.
When I came to Miami Beach so many years ago, we used to play baseball at Collins Avenue. There was no traffic in here. There was nothing until the Cubans get in. When the Cubans get in town,
Are you Cuban?
yes. until we came into this town was dead during the summer.
Mhm.
Well, it was typical of us to vacation in summer.
Right.
The Americans don't do that.
Right.
So the Miami Beach was a free land for everybody. We came in from Cuba, and we start coming in summer. Even if you went to Timbuktu, you went to Chicago, New York, but you remember to come down to Miami
Right.
for the summer.
That's over. Right.
And that's where the summer season started.
Yeah.
There was no summer season here at all.
Right.
And only that then the South Americans start coming, and the same thing happened.
Yep.
And that's what we're going now.
Now that's why we peak pretty much all
We
year
don't
round.
have, we have summer season that we never had it before.
Times have changed. Yeah. That's right.
I would like to recommend in the second item, I
Mm.
think, building new bus shelter.
Right.
Well, I live in Stella Maris. It's close to the
87.
Harding, yeah.
87, yeah.
And then there aren't any shelter, bus shelter. It's only a bench.
It's only
Yes.
a bench on.
No,
I thought
actually,
there
there is a bus shelter just north, so as soon as you come out of Stella Maris, if you were to make a left turn
No, in Harding, yes, but in Collins, not.
on the other side,
Yeah, in Collins.
Collins and
Yeah, I have pictures. I
So it's
saw
just a
that last
bench.
time in this meeting,
71.
but there aren't.
85th and 87. Oh, you are referring to the late
88.
It's the only
87
one
Street,
there aren't.
northbound.
Yeah, in
There
Collins
was
is.
one a couple of years ago and it was removed, and I believe that it was because
Yeah,
of
when it's
construction.
rain, it's very terrible to be in this bus station. In bus.
So we'll check on that, because apparently there was one there years ago.
The way
Was there
Check
one?
again because I live there.
Are a lot of people from Stella Maris
Yeah.
using it?
Yes, usually.
Okay.
Nothing to protect.
to go north.
Yes,
You're
to
trying
know.
to go
Yeah, it's in the limit.
Yeah, you're right. I think it was a development.
Collins.
Might have been developed.
Yeah.
Now, just so that we understand where we are into agreement, so we have agreements with the entity that is now on a month-to-month basis. With the shelters, we're going through the process of designing and procuring new iconic bus shelters, and our goal is to, have a bus shelter at each of the bus stops, which
But
we
in
have close to
this
300.
area is the only one because all the bus station have protect.
Actually, it's only
the
one third.
Incredible.
It's only 1/3 of our citywide bus stops that are covered by the shelters. It's only 1/3, so 100 are
The
covered
vast
outside.
majority are
Will
not.
you please pay
That's
attention about
But we
this?
will.
And then the other thing is about the trolley service.
Mhm.
It's an amazing service, but the only thing is the steps. It's too
Yes.
high. It's very difficult for the people to
Yeah.
use it. For me, no, but I saw the people
Right.
has to help the people to coming in.
We agree, and if you look at the next to last bullet says zero emission trolley
Oh,
or buses. The other thing that's we gotta add there is low floor. Going forward, all the vehicles will be low floor and easy to step into.
Yeah.
We have currently a contract with our trolley operator. Once that contract is over and it starts in about less than 2 years, right?
2021. So less than 2 years.
A little less than 2 years, that contract will expire, and the next generation of they may not even be trolleys. Maybe it'll be another vehicle. Maybe it'll be a
I hope
bus,
so.
but
Shuttle bus or something.
it will need to be zero emission, or at least more
Trolley's are horrible.
more
And the last
efficient
one,
than our
and the
current
last one
trolley.
finally is about the bicycles parking. I lost 3 bicycles. They stolen my bicycles. My friend said has the same problem, and we didn't find too much place to park in the bicycle. I don't know where is it. What kind of solution about this? In Miami Beach, the bicycle are in the
Yeah, we try to install bike racks, you know, where they're needed. If you
we have
if
to
you
use
know
the pole sometimes.
if you know
because-
of
What is the area that
locations.
you're referring to? And is it the ones that you were stolen, were they stolen from public right away? They were
Yeah,
attached to
well,
the
I
E-rack
live in
or?
2 areas. I live in Stella Maris now, but in the 80s, 83, 86 in this area. And here is
Between 83rd and 86
yes,
on Collins or Hardy?
in Harding,
Hardy.
in the area of Harding. And then my friend lives in Sheridan, and maybe 17th in this area, and she lost 2 bicycles recently.
Sheridan,
stolen.
and which street?
Sheridan, 70th, in the 70th or 14th.
Sheridan goes from
Mm,
28th, from 28th to
Sheridan,
about
in Meridian,
42
Meridian,
Pine
around
Trail.
the park, Flamingo Park, Chili around.
Oh, Flamingo Park.
Yeah,
So Meridian Avenue then.
yeah, that's right.
Amigo.
And then in community center, in South Community Center, I didn't see a space for parking, for bicycle parking.
Is that 6th and Meridian?
Yeah,
Yeah, we actually, on the south side of the building, we actually installed a couple behind that wall.
Yeah.
So there is entrance to the left side, right side, and there is a wall in the middle, right around the wall, there are 5 bike racks, I believe, that we installed 6 months ago. But the issue is this, when it comes to safety and security of the bikes in the public right of way, there's nothing we can do. We can only provide for capacity so that you are able to install your bike out there. Now, the issue that we also have is that there is some limited areas. On a 5-foot sidewalk, you really shouldn't be installing the bike rack to begin with, all right? Because if we install the bike rack, then we'll be interfering in ADA compliance. We wouldn't be leaving enough of a clear path for someone in a wheelchair to go by, park the bike on a 5-foot sidewalk. So that's an issue that we have. But there are alternatives that we can look into, like bike corrals and so on.
Thank you. And there are some website where I can find. I have a scooter. I would like to know where is the parking place to park in my scooter
What type of
in
scooter?
Miami Beach.
The scooters
Yeah.
you sit on?
Yeah, scooter.
The scooter you sit on.
Like
No, a scooter. Yeah, like regular.
with engine.
Yeah.
Ella
50
está con
CCs or
motocicleta.
so.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I believe
There's
that
scooter parking.
there is scooter parking, so, and I don't know whether it's
But where I can get information. I go in this area. I would like to know where is the parking.
That would
Beach
be
Parking
through
Department.
Saul,
Miami Beach
France.
Parking. Oh,
1755 building.
all right.
I can give you that information.
Okay. Thank you.
So
Alright. So, yeah.
following up on the bike rack,
Mhm.
you know, what is y'all's position that now that the police are enforcing people not
time.
not tying them to the sign.
Yeah.
Did y'all recommend that, or how did that come
No,
about?
that was code, that's in the code. That's in the code for
Yeah, but it
aesthetic
wasn't,
reasons
but
not
it
to.
wasn't, but it wasn't enforced. I
Yeah.
think recently now they started enforcing it.
I'm not sure why. I'm not sure.
Cause I've gotten complaints that basically, I mean, this is just, if it's somebody that, mostly the people that do ride bikes don't have cars.
Right.
And then for them to have to pay a fine or something,
Yeah.
it just seems a little bit unreasonable.
Yeah.
But y'all didn't have anything to do
I
with
found
recommending.
out that it was being strictly enforced,
Right.
and I don't know if it's in the entire city or if they just did like a little sting operation in Flamingo, because it seemed Flamingo got the brunt of it,
Right.
from what I saw. But I'm not sure what was
Do you know
behind
what
that.
do you know what I'm referring to? That the bicycle, you cannot attach it to a sign.
Yeah.
And now you're gonna get fined if you attach it to a
That's
sign.
correct, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, and then we talked about electric bikes and scooters,
Oh, yeah, you can
which
bring it up.
as you
Bring it
know, they're very prevalent over the Bay, in the city of Miami. And so it's a conversation that we're having here with our neighborhoods committee in March. Yes.
Just wanted to bring up our meeting in December. What we did was we did a field trip on the trolley. And what we did is our whole committee rode the trolley. We just
For
rode
an hour.
For
I
an
got a
hour.
little motion sickness.
And the trolley driver did not, and again, I've been working in Milosh's defense, I've been working with him aggressively since my injury and just putting a fresh lens on me being disabled. And he has been very helpful. But that day, Carolina, do you want to tell Milosh what the driver told you that day?
Yes,
Forgot.
he told me, the drivers don't have a time for go to the bathroom.
The drivers
Yes, the
don't
driver.
have a time,
Yes.
so don't have like a set time.
Mhm.
So they go whenever they want, is I guess the point he was trying to make. We do allow for breaks, because drivers have to have breaks
They stop at Rebecca all the time to go to the
to go to
bathroom,
the bathroom,
because
right?
I see them,
Yeah, that shouldn't be actually, that's not a location for them to go
so
to.
there's no
There's
problem
only
with that.
one location they should be going to bathroom officially, which is Publix on 19th Street or 20th Street. It's
In
not
the
a
entire
McDonald's.
city, there's only.
No, that's for the South
Oh,
Beach,
okay.
for the South Beach.
No, but
Now, if there is emergency,
Remember
and someone cannot hold it because really it takes them 70 minutes to get back to that location, then they could, but not normally. It's not
Yeah,
required.
but that, I don't think that's a problem, because when you have to go, period.
What specifically he said was that the issue of putting down the ramp, that they're not
Oh,
required to do
Oh.
it.
Oh, no, they are
do you wanna hear the whole thing?
Are you sure? I
They're
mean, that's what he
absolutely
said.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
You know what, I would appreciate just, for anything that happens like this in field to be communicated to us immediately. So if this happened in December, we could have prevented a bunch of problems in the meanwhile, because really a month and a half after that.
no, but
So the sooner we hear things, the better it is for us. They're absolutely obligated to help, and ADA actually
I cannot talk to you,
laws
I'm in a meeting right now.
require for them to deploy ramps and
Right.
stuff.
No, but in Diana's defense, again, I don't wanna interrupt either of you talking, what happened is we took the
Okay,
field trip, and then I
I-
talked to you 2 days later.
Mhm.
And that's when you and Mikael had that
Fine,
meeting.
I cannot
with
talk
them.
to you, I talk to you
And
when
I
I get there.
explained that to Diana, but I just
Fine.
wanted you to know the sequence of events, because the thing here is that just from me, one person,
Mhm.
the way they treated me, Jose, it was terrible. I mean, I had 7 different incidents on the video, on the camera, where they refused, with an e-scooter, refused to lower the ramp.
They
One guy-
refuse
and what
completely.
happened is, the problem is the floor, when they weren't working, some of them don't know how to work it. Again, he fixed the problem, but I just want this record. He refused to fix the ramp, and then what happened is they didn't know how to operate it manually. So what happened is, one day a passenger had to go and show the driver and tell him in Spanish, lower the ramp. Because what happens is, and I noticed this from the bus, because I use the bus almost every day, the bus lowers, like we got off the M this morning, it lowers it so low it's almost contingent with the ground.
Right.
So what he does, because I watch him, and I watch Carmen, and I watch some of the others, and it's very important to get this, because this is their freedom. This is their independence to get around every day.
Right.
So what happens is I watched him this morning getting off here at the end. He takes his scooter, he backs it up, and he just gently gets off. That's how easy he does it. He does it without thinking. On the trolley, what they have to do is lower the ramp, lower the ramp, lower the ramp. Yesterday, 5 minutes, we had to tell the driver. Again, he did it, but it's just aggravating because unless you ask them, they will not do it.
Our expectation is for them to immediately after they stop at the stop and see that there is a person on board the vehicle that is trying to disembark, or a person that is waiting to board outside of the vehicle and that has a mobility impairment, meaning it's an e-scooter or walker or wheelchair, to immediately deploy the ramp. Now, what happens sometimes is that it gets hard to communicate to passengers not to start entering before the ramp gets deployed. But Cindy has a very good points, and we reviewed a couple of videos where it's 100% driver's behavior type of issue, which we communicated to high top level management of LSF, and we're going against those drivers, meaning we're suspending them, and we're looking at 3 strikes, meaning if this happens 3 times, and it can happen within an hour 3 times to a driver, they're out of our routes. They're absolutely required. They're absolutely required to deploy ramps. We're not gonna be forgiving this. We're letting it slide like that.
This is good stuff that we don't know, so there's like a little warning or
No,
system?
but it's more.
Yeah, but first of all, I'm coming out with my walker.
Yes.
I'm not using the walker just for fashion.
No, absolutely.
I need to walk,
Absolutely.
and I don't give a damn who said I can't. I
Absolutely.
have to tell the driver, can you put the road, how stupid can you be when you see me with that and you don't wanna open, you don't wanna lower the ramp?
It
They
doesn't
don't
make
wanna
sense.
deal, they don't wanna deal with that.
Well,
It doesn't make sense.
well, here's the thing too, Diana, just so that you, I mean, I've been talking with Milos almost every day and
I know.
emailing them, and they have been wonderful, I will say, they've been very helpful. And I brought it to their attention when one day I was on the bus with 2 people going to Rebecca, and one was going to visit somebody in Bernie's building, is that it is a federal law, is an ADA federal law that you must, at the passenger's request, deploy the ramp. And a lot of the drivers, I don't think, are aware of this law. And the bus driver told
They
me
don't care.
it's a federal law, so they are breaking a federal law. And that's why I told Milos, they need to know the consequences of that, because all the videos, there's at least 10 that I've sent to Milos just of my situation. And again, I bring that up only because I want it to be better for anyone that has to go through. I just temporarily have this problem. But I've spoken also to a couple people. I talked to another guy in a wheelchair in my building yesterday. He absolutely refuses to use the trolley. He said they don't stop for him.
No,
I've
they
talked to
don't,
3 different people
they
in
see you and they
wheelchairs.
don't stop.
In the last 3 weeks, they will not use the trolley, because what happens is the guy at Icon, the bus driver, the trolley sees him and he passes him by. He waves him down, he just keeps going. And the guy at the courts at my building, I was waiting for Uber yesterday, and I asked him to use the trolley, and he made a face, and I said, what's that supposed to mean? He goes, I'll never use it, they don't stop for me, they don't care about me, I'm over it, I use the bus. The bus is a totally different matter. You're treated with respect, you're treated first class. The driver this morning saw Bernie, lowered the ramp.
Without even asking, that's a lot for me.
That's what I'm saying, we need to get, and again, I'm not throwing it, I'm just throwing the scenarios that I'm telling you, because you see how much I'm an advocate, and nobody better understands when you have to go through that situation where you are at someone else's mercy, like I was and still kind of am. But I don't want that to happen to anybody. When I see how well they're treated with such dignity on the bus, and we need to get to that level with the trolley, because like you said, as we continue to get people out of cars, we need to look at the whole big picture, which matches your PowerPoint this morning. And that's what I've seen you guys do in the last 2 years, working with you and your entire team. And that's why I'm gonna continue to be vocal, I'm gonna continue to say something, because I say it when I see it. Because I only wanna make it better.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, no, because I mean, who
It's-
better
it's
than
also
to go through this?
frustrating for us, because, you know, we take a lot of pride in our
And
trolleys.
concern too.
Because that belongs to the city, that, you know, it's personal to us.
Another thing, they should be told, the drivers, you should send the driver to school. And should be told that when they see somebody with that, they should right away,
Immediately.
put it down and put it, whatever you have to do.
Mr. Bernie, that's exactly our expectation.
And another thing, you better tell the driver to tell the people to move back. They all got in the front, the back of the trailer is empty, nobody's sitting up there. And you got 20 people in front. 2 of these machines completely stop the traffic.
Love the traffic.
Well, in their defense, what I have seen, particularly at busy times, like from 4 to 6, particularly on Washington, the drivers are very good on the Washington route. They will tell them, guys, move to the back, move to the back, move to the
Yeah,
back.
they don't die.
But the problem here too, Bernie, every situation is different, is sometimes the poor driver, they tell the passengers that, and they only have a few stops, so they wanna hang on with the stuff, and they don't wanna move all the way
I
back.
know.
Or they can't get back because there's people in the way that won't let them move back.
Right.
So the poor driver just, it's a judgment call, but I think for sometimes they have to, for 4 or 5 stops, let it stay the way it is, and they're at capacity, and sometimes I've seen them say, guys, I'm full, I'm gonna have to wait for the next one. But I think that they do a pretty good job on that. I just think that we need to continue to educate them.
And the
And like
home,
I,
that's what,
like I told Milos last month, is I think once you educate them that it's an ADA federal law requiring them to lower the ramp, that will wake them up. Because I told that to 2 different trolley drivers. I said, are you aware by not lowering the ramp that
And
that
then-
is a
and then we-
violation, particularly when I'm standing here with my scooter? I could report it.
Right.
And I said, I don't want to. I just want you to be aware of it because you're not. And then suddenly his tone turned to me, because there's one, he's number 23, he never likes to lower the ramp. He
And
goes,
is he
just
morning
try
or
without
afternoon?
it. Try it. No, the one on A, when I go to physical therapy, I've sent you a couple of his videos. He has an attitude. He goes, oh, you should be okay. I'm like, no, lower it.
Morning or afternoon?
I
It's
go,
not for the driver to make that call.
It's
You
not.
should- no.
I'm still in recovery. I still can't drive. I'm not allowed.
and the homeless too, we got problem with the homeless.
Yeah.
They sit there, they sleep all the time,
Well, that's.
and it's a mess.
Yeah. that's-
So
So we have to wrap up, are y'all?
Yeah.
just so that you know, we are actually scheduling, or the customer service training is already scheduled for all our drivers. So what happens, they get their own customer service training before they start working for Miami Beach. And we have higher expectations than, any other municipality, which the same company provides service to other municipalities, right? So aside of what they give them in-house, we also organize 2 customer service trainings per year for our drivers. And we will make sure that we share again these points very straightforward, and that they understand what our expectation is when it comes to dealing with passengers with disabilities and customer service and so forth. So that's happening on February 18th, so within 3 days or so from now.
Okay, can
I
you
know
come
this-
back?
We appreciate very much your feedback. We understand there is problems in the public transit. There is always room for improvement, and we'll get there. We will work together, and we'll do anything and everything we have to in order to get them.
Is that the only
Can you-
size that we have now? Is the trailer the only size that we have?
Well, when it
Well,
comes to the
bigger
size, no, actually, what you have in South Beach, I would say, is the best vehicle that we have in the fleet. We have 33 vehicles, 32 vehicles in the fleet. We have 12 low floors that operate in South Beach, and all rest vehicles are high floor with the steps, and none of them operate freely in South Beach. So basically, City Commission back in 2017 said we want only low floor vehicles in South Beach because we're replacing South Beach local. Now, as Jose mentioned earlier, any procurement of new vehicles would be low floors only. There
For
could be, for everyone, there could be a little longer vehicle with the new procurement. If it was a trolley, it would be 4 feet longer, but it wouldn't be any wider. It would be basically
That's a
working
problem.
on, yeah, even the bus. And Mr. Bernie, I don't know if you would agree, but the South Beach local, I went there and I measured it while it was in service, the width and the length. It is the same size of our trolley. It's the same size. It might be that the seats, were a little leaner
The
and
inside
configuration and so forth
is
that
wider.
give you appearance that you have a little more space on the bus. Plus, really, wooden seats, they take a little more space. They do, because now, you don't have as ergonomic seat. Plastic seat is much smaller in size, and it requires smaller supports and so forth, versus the, wooden ones where, only the boards are basically as thick as an inch, and so forth, so.
Unless you take off the 2 front seats.
You remember we had 2 and then we made 1 to be storage and we kept 1, but that's something that we can consider, next time around. And
Removing the
both
front
seats,
bench.
correct. You remember how we
Yeah.
removed the 1 bench behind the
Right.
driver?
Right.
And I think that improved.
That's improved, but that's, yeah, well, I mean the other way. Okay, this is the driver, right?
Uh-huh,
And then you have a space here,
yes,
which people put the packages there,
correct,
which is excellent.
yes.
Now, don't you think that then there comes a seating,
Mhm.
a long seating,
Yes,
and then the chair?
yes.
Eliminate that chair there and make this longer.
Or make that longer.
Like the storage?
I think we could look into that
Eliminate eliminate the first 2 seats.
in the back. So the last 2 seats
For
in the
the-
low floor area.
Yes.
Yeah, with the procurement of new vehicles, we could look into that as well. When we are about to procure new vehicles, we can sit around together, maybe show you some options of the internal seating of the vehicle, and we can take it from there.
Like this over here, you make it this longer, both sides,
Mhm.
and then the seats start over here.
Understood.
Because right now, if I come in, I have room for 2 people.
Yes,
And if I have 3 people with this beauty, you can't get in.
well, I've seen some videos actually where we had 4 on board, and that's how much
I
we.
said you cannot move.
But that's how much the vehicle is designed for. So up to 4 in there, and I've seen 4 on board. But whether we could accommodate for 6, yeah. Whether we could accommodate for 6, probably, but it would.
No, what I'm talking about a little more room
Mhm.
or space.
Understood.
So,
Yes, I'm sorry.
all right, last question.
Yes. I'm sorry, the last one. Who regulate the Ubers?
Who regulates the Ubers? I mean, that's.
Ubers are regulated by the state. They're supposed to comply with all the driving laws, but
Oh my God,
They're regulated by the
it's
state.
crazy.
and as a
Crazy.
matter, yeah. And let me tell you, what you're mentioning is no different than any other city is experiencing, I think, throughout the entire state. But
It's a new bill.
pretty much the only people that are allowed to regulate them is the state, and the only entities that they exempted was airports and seaports. Other than that, I mean, regulations for them, such as any regulation that you can think of for Ubers, it has to be at their consideration, and they have to be willing to do it. We don't have the ability to enforce it, unless of course the driver themselves is breaking a law or something.
Okay, so,
What
they park,
exactly,
wherever they want.
Yeah.
So,
that's their
it's
business.
a terrible, it's a terrible.
Yeah, and there's no way that with the amount of Ubers that you have and the amount of ride shares that you have, because the same goes for Lyft as well. There's no way that the enforcement resources can match the demand. So they come in, they park. If they see a parking enforcement person, they come around again and they park, and this is what they do, essentially waiting for the next ride. But unfortunately, you cannot regulate the company itself, because that's only up to the state. And the driver, you have to be in the moment and to catch it. And when you're talking about thousands of vehicles, so on a special event like now that you're gonna have 6,000-7,000 Ubers and Lyfts operating in this area, there's no way that you can have resources to deploy to catch every
It's
single
like a cat
infraction.
and mouse game.
It's a cat and mouse game.
Somebody's
essentially,
gotta
yeah.
catch them doing it at that moment to be able
To
to
report it.
report it. And
But catch them doing what exactly? Like that they're not parked in the,
Parking, parking violations, like giving them a parking ticket for parking in a parking space without, having paid. If they commit an infraction while driving, like a moving violation, giving them that. But I think the biggest issue that they have, for instance, the biggest issue for us and any other city that you can think of, I've spoken to people from Vegas, I've spoken to folks in Chicago. The biggest issue that we all have is picking up and dropping off from the public right away. So all of a sudden you're behind an Uber and this guy stops and a lady gets down and there's bags and there's luggage or there's market bags, and now you're stopped behind this vehicle for a couple minutes, 3 minutes, and when you have that happen often, unfortunately that affects traffic significantly. And
Yeah, but the city does do a good job, like even yesterday I went to the NFL experience. And there's the part for the shared drivers.
So for large events, what we're able to do is we're able to work with them to geofence areas. And even we do this even during the planning stages of development. So for instance, the Flamingo condominium over at Bay Drive, we worked with them so that they can, and actually it's still getting ironed out, so that they can geofence. So if I get an Uber, so right now for the NFL experience, if I'm inside the NFL experience and I want to get an Uber, right away it'll direct me to walk across the parking patch in Meridian. So you can do that during events, but on a day-to-day basis, it's nearly impossible.
Okay, well, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate all the different ways that you can contact us if you have any questions or if there's any way that we can help.
Oh, Josiah,
Call us,
also,
email us.
don't forget about the Stella Maris crosswalk.
That's already in design. It's actually close to 90% design.
Right.
So I'm gonna get you a
Keep us in the loop.
Oh yeah, I will, and I'll.
Maybe you can come back in March.
Sounds good. I'll be happy to do so.
I'm gonna say
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Where are you We're not finished with the meeting.
no, but maybe what
Remember the
thing I did notice, I'm sorry, there's no way to get on my wheelchair. They have to hold a person's hand.
Okay, we're not finished with the meeting.
I forget my friend, she's going here with to see if she'll take a picture.
Okay.
So we have to talk about,
Ramp,
That's a
Yeah,
beauty.
for this, for us, I think it would be.
Because that had to be real.
that we have to talk about Mondays as our meeting.
I met my friend in 98.
You're good?
And I know her in 99, and they were there, so they've been there almost 30
Okay, perfect. And
So
then
back in
there's
2015,
something else.
there was a.
two of them, they have two different
What department do you want?
Yeah.
and they each have one on each side, one's going as the other one's going
Next
back.
meeting, you know,
They do it every day.
this was transportation.
Till late at night, till the last.
What do you wanna do?
And what I like about theirs is, wouldn't it be cool if we could get that same operator to Bayside to one plaza, Harold, and then maybe go to
It's gonna go to the,
to where, so they can catch the bus.
What else that the senior
Marriott, yeah, needs to go there.
You know what,
Maybe
I think we
somewhere
should
by
do is
36th
bring in
or the
environmental.
Venetian,
And the
and
reason
maybe
that
by
I'm
36th Street, and maybe 79th Street, maybe like the major stops. Because if you,
doctor.
yeah, cause if you can have a person park at Omni and park at 36th Street,
But is there a doc
Winslow,
over there?
I don't know, I'm just saying ideas in my head.
Senior center should be
There's gotta
starting
be a
at
marina or somewhere that you can dock, but I would
Stop
suggest
at Mount Sinai, maybe on the other side of Mount Sinai, because there's a bus. Everybody connected to the bus. But it's worked successfully for so many years over there connecting Plano, and I think there's one in Seattle, there's one over at the New York Staten Island Ferry. And I'm gonna Google a few more, but I think Chicago has one. I think Arizona has one now, I think Phoenix has one now. I think it's a great idea. And then you have, a bus, I think there's a bus that goes from Airport to Bayside, and then that same operator could go down to the Keys. Tampa has a
Yeah, we have one approved by DOT, which is in 90% of the
Why can't we do it on this side?
DOT has already approved one, just.
The Go Bus died, the Go Bus died. It was one stop.
DOT approved it and they're in design.
The other idea.
Not at the curb, just north of the curb, and I'll come back in March
painted the lane and we made it a culvert slash, remember the carpool lane of 95? And I explained this idea in English. Why couldn't they do the asterisks
Oh,
in one lane on each of the 395
I don't
during peak traffic times? But a bus, you have to either be a bus.
Anyways, but
Whatever.
we just need to ask,
Sure.
to make the motion, somebody has to make the
You have to
motion.
have approval.
Are you gonna make the motion?
You have to have some kind of decal on your license plate or something.
At that point, yeah, and there are cities that do that, at that point,
And
there's a
Dallas
policy,
does it. Dallas
So
does
it's
it.
a policy decision, what you allow and what you don't
No,
allow,
I'm
and we
just
should
saying is,
allow
the
that.
Somebody
money
has to make
Rhonda
the
Rhonda
motion.
gave you an example. 80 employees in that building. They can clerk it off, carpool, be in that special lane, and go back and forth to Romney. And then we only have a few cars coming in that lane instead of many. What do you think of that?
The other day,
We can,
I only have to paint the asterisks and put up a few signs, and you could try it.
But stay when it's
you know, I need to
cause it's
improve
on,
So 395,
the
right?
classes for the
Yeah.
seniors.
I know
this is what I need to you know, in my senior
That's
center.
80 cars.
Yeah,
And that's
no,
just
but
one
I mean,
building south of
that's the case
Yeah.
anywhere else.
You know,
Um,
But a lot of the
reality
things
is the
that
state
you wanna
would
do
be
is
for-
already
the
being
state has
done
been
at other,
super,
at
even with
other
this, even with
centers.
the
Okay,
beach
yeah.
forum.
So I think,
They've
I
been
think for
super
the next
reluctant
one,
to-
and then in
Jimenez
March,
and Suarez,
we need to
I
bring
read
Parks
all
and
the time, they're
Recreation.
so
Okay.
wanting-
and then bring their senior, and all the programs that they have,
Getting perks to
that they
carpool.
offer in North
Give
Shore
them a
or
solution.
Unidad,
Yeah.
It's not about the
everything.
perks, it's about
and then see what
making
they're
it
not
stupid
offering.
and easy for a third grader, and more will do it. The easier
You should do that.
take it and make something.
But you also don't wanna
No, 100%,
duplicate.
I think they need to get the state on
Like
board.
what
I know,
other
I know.
centers near to you
I gave
that
him
have
some
senior,
ideas last month, I
Rebecca.
got started my notes, so I'll send it to you guys.
Awesome,
but
thank
is
you.
that from the city or is that personal?
Thank
But
you.
does that,
Rebecca, you know, maybe it's 1 year ago. Yes. Don't have a flamenco class. I don't know why.
4 p.m.
So the people go to my, you know,
I mean,
it's
I
fine
mean,
for, it's fine for me.
too many people maybe.
But we need to find out. But how does that work though? That's why we need the person. We
No,
need
no.
to find out if that's like a personal, does Rebecca Tower pay for that? Or does the city provide that? How does
Maybe
that
it's
work?
the city provide,
The city-
right?
the city provide.
See, this is why we need Parks and Rec.
Okay.
So for the next, is that two, or you wanna invite them, who did we say we're gonna invite?
Monica,
Monica?
the teacher, the teacher?
No,
she
what
said
department? We can do Parks and Recs next.
recreation,
Okay, so for February, we're inviting Parks and Recs.
okay.
I want them to present on exactly what they provide for all the seniors at all the locations in Miami Beach. And then February. We don't have anything.
And maybe the plastic, something.
Oh, right, well, we can move that too.
Okay.
We'll move that to, this is, I think this is more important, so we can start planning. So then it's gonna be Parks and Recs, and I want them to prepare a presentation of what they provide to all the seniors in Miami Beach,
Okay.
okay?
Okay.
Anything else?
Stella Maris,
Yes.
I want to say, thank you about the, I remember I called you about the, to fix the street lighting.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't, now,
They still have
yeah,
it?
very happy now, all, it's very, very nice at night. All they fix it, there are more than 6, they fix it.
Do you have a photo that you can send me?
Well, no, but I could send you.
Or just send me an email
Yeah, I
again.
could send you. Because it was so dark, this area, very dark. And now it's looks great. Thank you.
Oh, so they did fix it?
Yeah, they
Oh,
fixed
I'm
it.
sorry.
They
I thought
fixed it.
Oh,
I said
I understood that they didn't fix it.
No, I say thank you.
Okay, yeah, okay, great. Okay, yay. Anything else?
No.
No?
What about the
Here I have
talent,
some
the talent show?
candy
What
that I
about the
brought
talent
from-
show?
Oh, yeah.
This
The talent show is good. They have like 20 people that are gonna audition. And then, I believe that's in February. And then for the auditions. And then maybe they'll bring it down to 10. And then there'll be 10 people competing at the one in March. And that's the one that's at the convention center and,
Some people ask me about the price. If there are going to be a price, it's only to show the talent. Whether to
I mean, I think they're gonna have prizes, but I don't know the prizes.
Okay.
I mean,
I know.
Do we
I'm
have
gonna
the dates?
suggest them gift cards.
Do we have the
I
dates?
don't have the dates. There's
The
I
dates
have
for
the
what?
card over there. I think I sent it before, but I'll send it again. Okay. Alrighty. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, Diane.
You can have
Thank
some
you.
that she brought.
I'm so happy
Yes,
about
it's,
this meeting.
Evelyn's not here,
It's so
we're.
No, that's the plan. Is every
Sugar.
we're gonna do Parks and Recs next time.
February,
So every month we're gonna do a
Yeah.
different department.
Just one question. When there are some activities like
But I'll tell you something.
chai tea
The-
or
Wait, she's talking.
Oh.
some classes in one of the building. There are another people who don't belongs to this building coming to take the class.
That's what I wanna know. That's why I'm
Yeah,
gonna
because
see. But
the
it's also up to you guys. You have to tell me, Stella Morris. Next time, tell me what they offer
yeah.
and is it open to
Okay,
residents?
this is what I.
So, people that represent your building, I always forget if you're at large or do you represent Rebecca Towers?
All right, I will.
I'll ask Magnolia.
I will.
You have to try to find out what services are being offered currently at Rebecca Towers and if it's open to the public, do you know?
What service? What do you mean?
Like exercise classes,
That's
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Any type
we
of,
got-
any
we got-
senior classes, yeah.
I mean, you don't have to tell me now,
Yeah, I know.
but like, so we can know what's
Yeah.
open and
We
then
got-
we can
we got the
advertise,
Zumba.
and we can advertise that.
To other buildings, for
Monday we got the
example,
Zumba.
for example, the other
But
buildings.
do other
out
people
there-
come from,
Yeah.
other people come from other?
Yes.
Diana?
Yes.
People for
Can I bring
outside come to Zumba. Yeah, okay.
No, you go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay, before they have Zumba, English and computer class.
Uh-huh.
And then I think so everything is down. I don't know if they doing it this month.
Nothing else.
That's I know.
You know, Bernie, what happened for the flamenco class in the Rebecca?
I no idea. Monica, she lived before
There
with
used
her
to be a lot
mother.
of people from outside the building come to the flamenco class. It disappeared.
I don't know why.
What was it? Excuse me.
Diana,
What was the reason?
would it be
What was the
possible,
answer?
I don't know.
and again, you know
That
this
is
better,
a
you and
person
Carolina,
talk.
I'm sorry.
you and Carolina probably know this better than I do, but I had Carmen brought this to my attention, is the lunches that they provide at Rebecca, and I'm just using
Oh.
Rebecca as an example, no, let me finish, Brady, before you chime in, is, I know he's gonna chime in, is how can we, the people that provide the lunches, cause I think the people that provide it, Rebecca, might not be the same person that goes to Sixth and Lenox and goes to Council Towers and the other buildings. But how can
Yes.
we talk to those people, because the concern that we have was, there was a holiday, was it last Friday, or the Friday before President's Day? And nobody told them that there wasn't gonna be a lunch, and it wasn't a holiday, it was on a Friday, it wasn't the Monday. So, one concern was the food, and another concern is, getting proper notice if the lunchroom is not gonna be open.
El pequeño bar.
But sometimes they provide the boxes.
They
No
provided
more.
nothing,
No more?
and they didn't tell them, so people didn't get
I mean,
food
we
that
can
day.
write her. They're just not very receptive. I mean, remember when she came and she told us she was gonna bring, and I kept calling her to, like she was
This
gonna
is
sort of
Lorena?
increase the, first it was the problem of a shortage of food, or they're getting less
Yeah,
amount of
it's
food.
Still,
And that's what, I know, she was supposed to follow up and she never did. I kept calling her to but I can invite her again.
Well, how do we apply pressure? Cause my concern here is, people, sometimes that, I notice that's the only food they get for that day, and I think you were there, what, on Friday when they had that event? And that's usually sometimes, and I notice these buildings, that's the one day they come down, it's a social hour for them, and it's also a way for them to get a good meal. So my concern is that if they do have to be closed, they should be putting it up on the bulletin boards or in the elevators where people can see it so they can
But
make
people
other
don't
arrangements.
read. We put
People
all kinds-
don't read nothing in Rebecca.
Okay, well, how would you
Okay.
recommend that we get the word out?
hit 'em
What
in the
about
head.
why aren't they doing the boxes though anymore?
That's,
mean, that could be
that's
something.
Pequeña Habana, they changed the whole thing.
This is the program of Little Havana.
No, I know, that's why, I mean, we could. I just
The
don't
problem
think,
is
I don't
Little
think
Havana.
it,
The
I don't
food
think
is not
it
the-
warrants
The food is not the same. Somehow, getting worse every day.
Yeah.
But that's
No,
Little
I remember
Havana
that's
cooking.
what we told her.
Well, are they the vendor? They're the vendor,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Okay,
there's not
so-
gonna change.
Okay, well, my concern here is, don't they have a contract that they need to abide by?
They don't give a damn about the contract or anything like that, they do whatever they want.
I know, I mean, I'll find out about the contract and.
We got to
see
get
if
somebody
they're
from the
here.
city commission to go there and talk to them. That's the only one.
Yeah, but we don't have really like, I mean, something
That's what I'm saying.
concrete, like, I'm
Right.
sorry, but I'm being honest with you that I think, that they don't provide the boxes or that the food is not that great.
Right.
Or,
I mean, that's not really,
well,
Culture.
no, but what I'm,
Mm.
well, all I'm saying is if, we could find out if there's options available, what options are available, and also that they notify residents, or.
well, they're saying that they notify them, but they just don't read, so.
They don't read,
I
honey.
think they notify. I think just sometimes, obviously, I remember Maddie called me too, that the residents didn't know, but they're saying that it was on the board.
Is it on the bulletin boards when they're closed, like they were closed Friday?
No,
For the lunch?
no,
And Maria, the charge of the Maria who's in charge, tell the people, there's nothing be Monday we're closed.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying, I think what might be good is, I noticed a lot of people. when
That's
they-
more with the coordinators, and that's the whole point
This
of
is
this
for
committee.
the area where is the
The whole
program of
point-
Little Havana. It's
the
not
whole-
belong to Rebecca Towers as manager, or the social worker. It's so different.
Well, if anything, I would think at least if they posted it in the elevators,
They don't read.
Well, I'm just saying,
You wanna I explain you something? I always, for too many years, I
She used to
helped
be
the
there 14
building.
years.
Yeah, and I was the manager for 11
Yeah.
years for the seniors launch for youth community service. I have experience. That's
what would
right.
you recommend we do?
Ella lo tuvo.
Same thing what
Nadie
they
quiere
doing.
cambiar.
Explain to the people in the area, if they don't go, it's because they don't listen. Sometimes when I get the tickets for the people for the lunch, for the special lunch, for the celebration of the program of the building, people come and they say, give me my ticket because somebody told me. They never see what they posting. This has happened to us too many times.
Well,
She's in the cafe, she's in the library, sometimes giving tickets.
Well,
And they don't come to check.
the meeting's finished, the meeting already
Okay,
finished.
sorry,
so,
I talked
mean,
too much.
okay.
No, it's
I'm just saying,
fine.
we might wanna have that lady come.
We might have, she's gonna have to come.
Okay.
But also, I mean, the purpose of the committee is though that the Rebecca Tower, representative should bring this up and be like, this is a problem that we're having.
Right.
So, I mean, I know if you hear it from Carmen, Carmen needs to tell the representative, hey, this is happening. Carmen told you?
Carmen was sitting right next to you,
About one.
about the lunch. She told us there was no food that day, remember? You were sitting
I
right
don't
there.
listen to Carmen.
Carmen,
brothers in
Oh.
Christ.
Let me
Okay.
make sure it's February.
Hay que rezar a Santa Teresa de
February
Jesús por la
24th
paciencia.
is our next meeting.
La paciencia todo lo
Did
alcanza.
everybody sign in?
Yeah.
Gracias.
Yes.
Carmen.
Yeah.
Now,
She's a
She's
little
an
before we
ongoing
go, I
bit.
wanted to ask you something, before we go.
That's why I just bring it up.
No, I'm
Well,
saying,
oh, no, no.
thank you to bring it up.
Yeah.
Is the
But
trolley,
I'm not there at
The
lunch,
trolley,
so.
2 years we have to deal with the trolley.
I know.
after 2 years, I hope.
I
You
don't know
know,
what
so-
else to tell you.
believe
I
me.
mean, yeah, we
We're
can, we have,
If
we
you
can- yeah,
depend
we're
on
We're
them,
stuck, I read through the
Dynamic.
contract,
I know,
we're stuck.
of course, we've been stuck, we knew that.
we need the bus, the regular bus back.
Okay, in 2 years, Bernie, there's no, I mean, I know you don't like the answer, but that's the answer, so, I mean, what we
Okay.
have to do is keep pressuring Milos with the drivers and the
Horrible
three strikes.
horrible
And
driver.
keep driving and complain, send me
Let
an
me tell you
email,
something.
complain, but I mean, it's not gonna change, we're stuck with that. Michael already
I say
reviewed
in
that
Spanish,
contract.
la ruta C, the route C,
See, very good.
very good, new buses, is running to Mount Sinai to Rebecca.
South Beach,
All
South
around.
Beach,
South
South Beach,
Beach.
every half an hour.
That's
I
right.
take that.
Nobody take the bus, it's always empty.
Yeah, the only
And they
people
go
know,
in
and then
and
that's
complain
the
and
problem,
complain.
and then that's the
And
problem.
they take the route C for the downtown,
And
and
it's
that's all
excellent.
running in.
The end bus is
Sinai.
excellent, runs every half an hour, from
Okay,
downtown
who's not
Miami
taking
to.
it? The seniors.
to here.
Exactly, and then what happens is that then there's low ridership and then it's eliminated,
That's right.
so.
Because sometimes
these are the
I
things
can
that we
drive
need to
to
tell-
Mount Sinai.
But these are the things.
Sometimes I take the bus because it's better for me. From in front to Rebecca to Mount Sinai. It's
Excellent.
perfect. Excellent. And who take the bus? Nobody. And then
And then they get canceled.
Can I tell
and
you?
then Rebecca always is full in the parking in front to Rebecca. Leon Medical Center,
Oh, yeah, all those,
all the insurance
Right.
are full, and bring and take everybody from Monday to Friday, and STS all the week, night and day.
if I call, like I
They
remember,
get a private ride, they arrange it a day or two in advance
Oh.
to go to a doctor's appointment.
excellent, the SCS,
Excellent.
That's
It has to
good.
be a specific type
The
of
only
appointment.
trouble is that when you
And now
go
the
to
Humana is no
I got
con
4
Viva,
people.
right? Con
There were
Viva.
five of us.
Con Viva too.
and I couldn't get it
Viva.
anymore.
Viva la revolución.
Okay, I'm leaving. Y'all can stay.
And then I know
La cámara ya está apagada porque si no.
no, porque si no lo que voy a hablar. Además, yo, my scooter, no, mira,